Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, or rather their video game incarnations, have gone through a lot of transformation in the 20 years they have been supervised by the Ukrainian studio Frogwares. It began as a collection of plain-looking point-and-click quests, and Sherlock Holmes series, following the trends, left the textbooks pixel hunting and approached the interactive cinema in the manner of the project from Telltale Games. At least structurally, more and more cutscenes, a growing number of action segments, and the traditional puzzles had to squeeze in order to have enough room for digging in the chambers of seasons. So, in later project about the adventures of the great detective, is called a detective system, wielding which is a game compressed the testimony of witness with the evidence found and turns the scraps of the true into a chains of logic, and then into a chairs. Two recent Sherlock Holmes projects, Crimes and Punishments and The Devil's Daughter, were based on similar game design pillars. What trends are we seeing? Gameplay, an emphasis on expertly choreographed on linear investigation, delight with a meditated walkthrough, and QTE. Main character less Livano, more Downey Joe, and Cumberbatch. The script is far for the worse sake, and digging into the protagonist's murky past is shadowlight. Regarding the latter, Mr. Holmes from Arthur Conan Doyle's books is not a man of timid properties. His intelligence and incredible deduction overshadow the fact that his in body of the detective from Baker Street looks a living man, vulnerable and not as close as we want to appear in public, with his fair worries and insanities. The developers from Frogwares are still sticking to the storytelling line marking about, and that's why the new game about Holmes, with the speaking title Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1, is devoted to the young master of deduction. Sherlock has just turned 21 and only recently settled in London, where he has already begun to strip up Scotland Yard eyes with a success in a private investigation. This handsome dandy with a sleek hair, who never part with a notebook and a pistol, is young, daring and hungry for adventure. So Sherlock travelled to his small motherland, the British colony of Cordon in the Mediterranean Sea, to find out more about the suspicious circumstances of his mother's death. As is to be expected, it is not going to be trivial extinction due to a tuberculosis, as it's scripted in the medical report, and Holmes himself, fascinated by search of truth, is sure to stick his nose where it's not proper, having had time to wrestle with bandits and with cops, and with the shadowy master of Cordona, who make a very shady deal. We get a kind of origin story of Sherlock Holmes without Dr. Watson, without crossovers with famous criminals like Arsène Lupin and Jack the Ripper, but in the setting of the sun-drenched Ottoman Eden. The company of the hero will be a childhood friend named Jonathan. Of course, this friend is not as simple as it seems. However, this intrigue, like many of the other mysteries of the Chapter 1, lies on the surface. They do not have the power to blow gamers away. For near the end of the first third of the game, the outcome becomes as obvious as possible. A commendable attempt to penetrate deeper into Holmes' mental illness remains just an attempt, and the main quest line dedicated to family secrets and dusting of the family estate, plays with busy twist only closer to the final. The story is delighted with the side activities available in the local open world. You can run around the cordon wherever you can see, encountering all sorts of mishaps and constantly practicing deductive skills. What does the open world of the Sherlock look like? On the sinking side, on Sinking City, by the same Frogwares, a thriller. The action is set in a fictional seaside town, as is escaped from the pages of a Lovecraft prose. The confrontation with a powerful cult was interspersed with a motorboat race and shooting at creatures from other worlds. However, neither the memorable mysterious story nor the lingering atmosphere did not save the Sinking City from gameplay boredom. To run from quest to quest there is eternal boredom. Exploring is not worked out, and the game world came out too empty, and the fun with the search of plot area by line fillet from the category Look the Target to the west of the intersection of Asimov and Weber streets bored me very quickly. In Chapter 1, the developers decide to polish up the problematic mechanics of the sinking city. Was the work on the bug successful? More likely no than yes. Roaming through cordon, Sherlock can bump into NPC who will throw you a dirty job. Overhead a dialogue that activates a new investigation. Go to the store where they sell clothes or furniture to the manor, or just watch the sea waves crashing against the shore. You can drop in the police station as a freelance opera to sort out especially neglected crows or break into the den of bandits for fun, to smack them into the back of the head and get some money out of their hideout. Unfortunately, the implementation of open world did not go far from the sinking city. The location, albeit picture square, feel dead, and apart from hiking there is nothing to do. The secondary activities for the most part can surprise you with a complex detective experience, and extra cringely bypass areas where there are still no open spots for fast travel in search of the right address. A pleasure. Doubtful. Holmes harmless moonlighting available outside of the main quest. It's not always voluntary. Sometimes Chapter 1 requires the gamer to buy some item to continue the story. The only way to earn money is to pass optional quests, clean the back alleys of robbers, and scurry around in the hope that some passerby will give the hero a simple task for 10 minutes. Among the missions there are a sample of good side quests, but even are more like a complicated investigation from Batman Ekman. Came to the crime scene, wander here and there with the witch eye on. Visualized the event that happened in the crime scene and run in the police station for a bonus. Also in Chapter 1, Sherlock was handed a firearm and taught how to fight back against a large group of enemies. An enemy can be killed with a well-aimed headshot, which is fraught with a loss of points and less pay, so Holmes had to resort to non-lethal elimination techniques in gunfights. Shooting at vulnerable points on enemy's body, blowing dust in their eyes from a snowball on duty, and shooting at all sorts of oil lamp and flower sacks to trap opponents with a dust green or a flare of fire. After stunning each of the goons, you have to military and handcuff them in a simple QTE. That's it, literally. The combat is not the most spectacular, not the most challenging, and not the most addictive. Not a bad stopper to delay the global investigation, except that the showdown occurs much oftener than the pace of the story requires. As the detective element is much more straightforward. Chambers of the Mind still works. However, the chambers in Chapter 1 compared to the reference Crimes and Punishment are little improved, as the investigations that put us before a true moral choice are poorly aroused in the future. Sometimes the gamer is not desired to walk through the unobvious version of criminal acts. Much easier to get the first available outcome and drawn for it, to take the path of the least resistance. Otherwise the process of solving criminal puzzles remained plus or minus the same. You know yourself, discuss, sit your pants in the archives, analyze suspicious places with a spidey sense, and beat information out of random passerby, armed with the right clues and a sharp tongue. So to sum up, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is a controversial game. On the one hand, it is still the same Sherlock Holmes, in which it's nice to hang out trying to solve a tricky plot crime. On the other hand, Chapter 1 has adopted many unfortunate elements from the sinking city, suggesting a supposed evolution, if not stagnation, on the franchise. The folks at Frogwares would have been worth much if they worked on creating a coherent linear adventure in the manner of previous Holmes titles. Alas, open world takes its toll and blurs the impression of the meticulously crafted main quest. Fight with outsiders, slicing through the narrow streets of Carbona, and performing the original assassin activities are bold to Chapter 1 for better or the worse. But there's enough fan service for fans of the books, and the game looks good, even in spite of a poor optimization with sudden lagging frame rate and getting stuck in bushes.